What's up, family? I'm Juan Castillo, and when I'm on social media, my favorite show to watch is the Don't Shoot the Messenger weekly podcast. Chris G, Professional Sutton, Rucker Report delivers sports the way it's supposed to be, real and authentic. So get ready to be entertained. My boys are ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
And I'm your boy, Chris G.
And it's your boy, the Rucker Report, a.k.a. Jerry.
Ready? This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished.
This is Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast.
X about me, X about me.
With Professional Sutton.
You already know.
Chris G.
My homie.
And the Rucker Report.
My family, what up?
They for real.
All straight with no chaser.
Let the games begin.
Let's go. Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Let me get this right here. Let me see. Hold on. Boom. There we go. Hold on. Turn my mic up. The mic up. Welcome to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
I'm your boy, Chris G.
And on behalf of the Rucker Report, Jersey. Also, definitely got to thank our sponsor, 94.3 WYBC.
The rhythm of the city.
Okay, so I just want to let y'all know, man. Today we coming. Let me get my stuff, man. Chris, I just want to let people know, like, yeah, we ain't playing around today, man.
No, not today.
Around.
Not today.
You know what I mean? We got a lot of stuff to talk about, man, because the NFL, we've been saying this for a long time. We've been having this discussion. You know, people could join in if you want to, but just to give you a quick update, a quick synopsis, Brian Flores, he was the former coach of the Miami Dolphins, head coach. He was let go when he tried to apply for another job. You know, he didn't get it like most of us thought. But unlike other coaches, he said, guess what? I'm going to take a stand. I'm going to sue, because I know that this is discriminatory practices. And that's huge, right? To have a black coach sue the NFL and teams, it's kind of unheard of. I didn't get to see the whole interview, Chris. I don't know if you did, so you can elaborate on that. But I just wanted to kind of give people that just tuning in context of what's going on. You know, it's just so sad that we're still in 2022. And we still have to have this fight with the league that's predominantly African Americans.
70%
of African Americans, you know, and it's a shame, because you have a lot of people out there that say, "Well, stop crying, you know, everything is fair, blah blah blah, yada yada yada." But it's really not fair. I think it's equitable if you're playing and if you're good enough to get that. Because a lot of these quarterbacks and a lot of these players, they're not treated equitably. They don't get that. They don't get what they should get. But I can tell you players like Sam Bradford. I can tell you players like, I don't know, Ryan Tannehill. You know, I mean, the list goes on. A lot of players who are getting things they shouldn't have gotten because of one season. But yet and still, we're still talking about the same thing about, wow, like, and it's sad because off air I was talking to Chris and he said, you know what, good for Brian Flores, but it's sad because he's probably going to never coach in NFL again. Because we know what's going to happen. Like, we know how this is going to go. But I'm going to let you, Chris, did you get to see the interview?
Which one, the Good Morning America interview or the Get Up interview?
Well, I mean, either one.
I guess it don't matter. I didn't watch either one of them.
Okay.
But not because I don't support.
I mean, you're working.
Because I am. It's true. But it wasn't because of that. It was for a much more. It was for a much more depressing reason, yo.
Why? What's up?
Because I already know how they're gonna frame this black man.
Mm-hmm. Talk about it.
I got to give a little bit of credit to NBC Sports Talk, the one with what's that failed quarterback that always loved the Jets quarterback? Yeah, what's his name? His father was a quarterback for the Giants.
You talking about Sims?
Chris Sims.
Chris Sims, yeah.
Yeah, he got a show on NBC Sports. They talk football with another co-host, and I gotta say they did an excellent job of kind of explaining. It wasn't Chris Sims; it was his co-host saying, "Don't be surprised." White man now, white man said, "It's a shame, but don't be surprised that you start hearing the same Kaepernick, the same Kaepernick excuses that the public and media was using." He was like, "Don't be surprised if they tweak them just a little bit and just replace them with Brian Flores' name."
Yeah.
He gave him so much credit for standing on what his beliefs and stuff that everybody knows that Rooney. I mean, we done talked about it. A dozen shows talked about it. We know that Rooney Rule is a joke.
It's a joke.
It's a joke. I mean, how many times have a coach? We already knew that was the coach that was going to get hired after a coach got fired, and they were only interviewing a black coach to, check the box off for the Rooney Rule. And you know what they try to frame it as? Well, look, it's good experience that you got to interview for, your next chance.
Yeah.
For your next chance. Oh, you mean my next chance when the owner and the GM already want to hire somebody and I'm coming in to check the Rooney Rule box again? That's it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. So, I just didn't want to partake. Ryan Clark on Get Up, or I think it was on ESPN, he had my sentiment to the T. I'm just tired, man.
Tired.
I'm just tired. All right, we all know the game that they played with Brian Flores.
Yeah, we all
They're
know.
gonna go to court. The NFL is never gonna admit wrongdoing.
Nope.
They're gonna settle, and he's gonna get blackballed more than likely. And that's gonna be the beginning and the end of this story. And it just makes me hurt for Brian.
No, let me piggyback off of what the NFL is going to do, right? The NFL, again, thank you for tuning into the Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. The NFL is going to hire a black coach just so they can say, see, you hired a black coach, and he's going to be on this team. He's going to be given the worst of everything. The Rooney Rule and what the NFL is going to do, it's the equivalent to when they made school separates were equal. But they didn't make it equal. It's not going to be equal, because what's going to happen is they're going to say, hey, we're going to interview. We got the Rooney Rule. We got to interview. But what's the point of interviewing if you're not going to hire these guys? Just to say we interview. And then what's going to happen is they're going to hire someone who's probably inept. They're going to hire someone, Tim, what's up? Who's really inept. Who doesn't fit the mold. But again, we're hiring somebody, and then they're gonna put him in a worse situation. Just say, hey, well, he did that on himself.
Oh, you mean like David Culley in Houston?
Yeah.
Who got hired to get fired?
Or now, Hugh Jackman is not Hugh Jackman, but Hugh Jackson is coming out saying, yeah, the Browns want us to tank, and they paid us to tank. They're gonna go to the worst of the worst, and so I was talking to Randall real quick, Chris. Just to piggyback off, we talking about equality. According to Randall, he said Byron Leftwich said, "Hey, listen, I'll take this job, but you got to get rid of Chris boy Trent Baalke."
Yep.
Jacksonville said, "What? No." He said, "If you want me, you got to get rid of him, because I heard he's a really shady guy, and I can't work with that. I need Trent Baalke going." Again, as a Niners fan, we've seen what he did to that organization until, thank God, we stumbled, and now we're at a solid place once again. But we're seeing what he's doing with Jacksonville. But again, these are the type of situation that you want to put black coaches in and then say, make the best of it. Also, let's not forget what they did to my man, rest in peace, the late, great Denny Green. How is this man out of job? Lovie Smith, Leslie Frazier. The list goes on.
Your boy Marvin Lewis, who was
Marvin Lewis.
brilliantly. Let me tell you something. I'm so glad. I wish we had the reach of First Take, because boy Marvin Lewis was Stephen A. in his place about calling for him to lose his job. Did you watch it?
No, I didn't see it.
You did see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, I was like, man, I wish we could have that. He could look Quet in his eye and say that same thing he said to Stephen A.
What did he say?
He basically said, like, I appreciate you, but he was like, you got to understand that your words got power.
Yes.
And he was like, he's like, you don't understand the day-to-day operations that go on.
Yeah,
he was like, you were saying that we needed a different voice. He was like, man, we gave about 16 different voices.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, you don't know the basically the trials and tribulations that I was going through.
Of course.
In Cincinnati, and what I had to battle with just to get that team to be functional.
Exactly.
And he was like, he said, I understand, my time was up. He was like, yo, you didn't understand what was going through on a day-to-day basis or why things was happening the way they were. And I said, Lord, he is good.
I know
you said good.
Where is Quet at so he can hear this? I know you said
yeah. First thing I was like, man, as soon as we get on, I want Marvin Lewis on be like, yo, Marvin, this nigga talking shit about you, yo.
Nah, I'm gonna have my mic like this because I want to feel like I'm in a radio atmosphere. But I had wrote some stuff down, man, and it's saying, also, man, it's a damn shame that the owners are still at this place. But
what place? Rich,
white, and with privilege.
Yeah.
And but not only that, but how about some of these players, man? I tell people change don't come when you're dealing with rich people until you mess with their money. When you mess with their money, they're going to think about this and say, "Hey, now
hey, now,
yeah,
hey,
let's talk about this." But their money isn't being affected. But when it could be affected? When those sponsorships get pulled. When people saying, "Hey, I don't like what's going on," so that means Pepsi, you might be a part of this too. Pepsi gonna be like, whoa. I better handle that because we're gonna pull this and we're gonna make sure that we show this young black girl running track because she's drinking Pepsi. We're all behind that. Until they start messing with these dollars, a lot of these. Hold on, what'd you say, Chris? You was kind of breaking up there. Oh yeah, you sound like a robot too, Chris. You can hear me? No, you still messing up. Hello? Have some technical difficulty. See, now we speak the truth. Yeah, now Chris, yeah, you keep going in and out on me, man. Nope, nothing again. They now they're gonna try to block us out, Chris. Now we talking the truth. Now they blocking us out. You hear that? Now we trying to speak the truth. Now they can block us out. Yeah, nah. Exit and then come back in, Chris, if you can hear me. Leave and come back in. But yeah, I'm definitely on my soapbox today. Because it's a damn shame that people are already saying, and you know what's going to happen. Oh, well, you know what? Brian Flores, he was a good guy, but he's a problem. He's going to get labeled. And this man is going to get labeled for doing something that he believed in, which is crazy. Like, how do we fire a man for doing something and taking a stand? That's not right. That is not right. And so now the NFL is going to have to figure this out. And if they don't figure this out, I hope that the players really step in, Chris, are you still there? Okay. Hold on. Okay, hold on.
You hear me?
Let me see. Hold on. Say something?
Yeah, I'm still here. I can hear you now. You sound good.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. You sound like a robot. So when we started talking that truth, man, they started getting scared, man.
As soon as we start talking that truth, here come Big Brother.
Yeah, definitely. I was saying, so I was saying that some of these players are going to have to step in. So let's just talk about solutions again. We're going to go back and forth again. This is Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I think that what players need to do right now is kind of pool their money all together and saying, hey, we're going to donate X, Y, and Z to this pool, because it's going to be a lot of third and fourth stringers that's going to be scared to do this. You know, it's going to be a lot of people that's going to be scared to actually make a move because they're like, oh, well, it's going to affect my money. It's going to affect my livelihood. Like, I want to join, but I'm getting paid all this money and I don't have sponsorships. Like, I'm expendable, unlike certain people. What are some things that you think need to happen?
Well, one thing I think that's not going to happen is what you just said. They ain't built like that.
No.
I'm gonna just be 100% honest.
No, please be 100% honest.
Yo, these NFL players are not built like that. And then the reason I say that is because they wouldn't band together to give themselves better deals for themselves.
Exactly.
So it lets me know for sure that they're not going to sacrifice for somebody else. They're not going to do it. So I think that would be the admirable thing to do. That would make, black people, the position in the NFL, would make us the most proud if they said, you know what, if they pulled a Martin Luther King, we shall overcome. But they ain't doing that. They ain't built like that. They got too much money at stake that they're not willing to sacrifice for the overall good. So I can tell you right now, that ain't happening. That right there is the lowest percentage chance of something happening. Like, NBA is different.
Yes, it is.
NBA, I can see it. NFL, nah, weak union, weak morals, don't see it.
And what is so sad about this, right? What is so sad about this is that, in order for change to happen, you have to be uncomfortable, right? Like, if being in a place of power, a place of change was comfortable, everybody would be working out every single day. If change was comfortable, trust me, people would be doing it every single day. We wouldn't have no problems because you know why? It will feel good. So when people say, well, keep politics out of my sports, I said, okay, the same you mother that said that probably eats soup with forks because you're missing the whole point of it. You can't enact change when everybody is feeling good, because again, there'll be no problem. Like, they're going to have to do it like during a major event. They're going to have to really say, we're not.
Super Bowl?
Yes. That's when people say, yo, until our demands get met, we're not playing. But why? But again, and this is no knock on these players. I'm not disrespecting them. I'm not. But I know if you keep saying, oh, this guy's a good guy, he's so great, so why aren't you going to take a stand for him? Why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you saying anything? Because to me, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, all them other Patriot coaches that come from under the Patriot tree, don't they get held in high praise?
They do. Now listen, I'm gonna jump out the window a little bit.
Please do.
Because what was said was, when he got the Miami job, Bill jumped out the window for him. So, maybe he did.
Right.
Maybe he did. I'm not going to say that he didn't.
No.
The reports are he jumped out the window like, yo, this guy is the guy you want. I mean, He was up under Bill for almost 20 years. He started as a scout.
Yeah.
Worked his way up to defensive coordinator. So, obviously there's some relation. And I mean, the text, I don't really look at that as an indictment on Bill Belichick per se.
I don't either. Boy, people are saying that. People are saying that it's an indictment on Bill Belichick.
No. Bill was letting one of his other boys know you good. I had the wrong number. Hit him back. Yo, man, my bad. I mean, that wasn't meant for you. I fucked up. It is what it is. You know what I mean? Bill was just relaying a message. Bill wasn't like, it's not like Bill was like, oh, I'm gonna make sure you get the job over him. Now, if that comes out later on, then that's a different conversation. But that's not what it's reading right now. It's just reading a guy saying, hey, you know, you got it. Don't worry about it.
Right, yes.
And he sent that to the wrong Brian.
Right.
That's what I got from that.
But I'm glad that happened. You know, things like that happen for a reason. Things like that happen for a reason, because it's like, yo, at what point, right? At what point can he just congratulate him without saying, oh, it's the wrong one? Right. So now people say, oh, wow, he tipped them off. And but again, it shouldn't be like that. And I think, again, people are looking at the wrong scope of it. Like, that shouldn't even be the case. That should be like, oh, you and other Brian going for it. But I think you're going to get this one. He's going to get that one. But again, because of how the NFL works, you know, he's probably not going to get one of those jobs, especially in New York, which they need whoever, you know, they need help.
You know,
right now,
you know how the Giants feel about having black coaches or black quarterbacks.
Yeah,
they're not going to answer. So quit asking.
No, exactly. But here's the other side that people are saying, right? People saying, well, you know, the GM came from Buffalo. He's a Buffalo guy, so of course he's gonna pick his guy, right? So that's the excuse that people are using. Okay, well, if you want to go with that, cool. But what about the other teams, though? What's your excuse? I mean, because this guy isn't horrible. He's not a first-time coach. The guy's got pedigree. So why is
coach?
That's what I'm saying. So why is it
He's not a losing coach? He's a winning coach.
That's what I'm saying. But again, not only him, but when and we talked about it, right? You look at other NFL teams who have white coaches, like Doug Peterson, or other offensive coordinators, gurus, if you will, that they always, you know, point out. They get snatched up real quick. Right or wrong, Chris?
Right. They love a new, hot, young, white offensive coordinator. Yeah.
Cool. The last 2 Super Bowls were won by who, Chris? What teams?
Oh, an offensive coordinator that was black and Eric Bieniemy, and an offensive coordinator that was black and Brian Leftwich.
Okay.
Those guys should be head coaches.
I don't see anyone wanted to get that. Chris, if we're going by what the NFL does and by their tradition of hiring these offensive coordinators who win Super Bowls, they should be in line to get these jobs, correct?
You are correct. Well, that's the thing. They keep moving the goalposts, right? So it used to be, well, yo, listen, you know, we just can't give former players coaches jobs. You got to work your way up.
Yep.
Then it was you worked your way up. Then it's like, yeah, but you got to be an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator. Most of them went into defensive coordinators. And it was like, oh, listen, man, defensive coordinator, they ain't where it's at. You need to be an offensive coordinator. Now they offensive coordinators. And now it's really the quarterback or it's really the coach. Really?
What?
Because they wasn't saying that about Charlie Weiss and Josh McDaniels. It wasn't when they had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick was the head coach. It wasn't saying that about Matt Nagy and Doug Peterson when they had Andy Reid and they had a litany of great quarterbacks that was connected to Andy Reid. It wasn't saying that when Peyton Manning was the quarterback and you was the offensive coordinator. You was a glorified clip holder if you was Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator. Peyton Manning ran that show. But those offensive coordinators went on to have great jobs. Same thing with Big Ben. Same thing with Phillip Rivers. So miss me with it's all, like I said, they keep moving the goalpost. It's always an excuse when it's the black offensive coordinator. Oh, it was really the quarterback. Oh, it was really the coach. Just say you don't want them.
That's it.
You know what? People would. Listen, you would get in trouble, but people would respect it more if you kept it 100. But they try to do this whole song and dance like, oh, listen, we want diversity. We want, it's just, we just want the best. Funny how the white guy always the best, though, right?
Yeah. It's like you said, moving the goalposts. It's what it's like at the start of the race. Like, hey, okay, guess what, Chris? We're gonna run a 100-yard dash. And that's it. This is a 100-yard dash, and it's been a 100-yard dash. You just won your heat, so now you're gonna be in a 100-yard dash, right? Like, okay, I just ran twice. I don't know why I had to run an extra race, but I don't know. They said I had to, right? But again, everybody only ran one race, but you had to run two to qualify. A little sketchy, okay. So they said, okay, yes, this is a 100-yard dash. So now, when you're at the starting block, and they said, ready, set. Oh, by the way, this is a 120-yard dash. Go. You're running. No, they change it when you get to the 100 yards. Like, no, this is a 120-yard dash. Sorry. You lost already. Like, what? You didn't tell me that. Or what? That wasn't specified. Well, if you look at the fine print here, you would have, if you would have read it, you would have realized that we didn't want you to win. I mean, this was a 110-yard dash. But that's what it's becoming. And we have so many black coaches who are successful as coordinators, and they're still not winning. What was that coach in what's the Giants? Or was it Shermer? Pat Shermer?
Pat Shermer.
Wasn't he like a special teams coach?
No, that was
No, was it?
That was Joe Judge. No, or that was either Joe Judge or the one before Joe Judge. They had so many.
I thought it was Judge.
Joe Judge, or whatever. He's not there no more.
But again, offensive. I mean, a special teams guy.
No, one of them wasn't even ever a coordinator at all. And I think that could have been Judd, or it could have been the one before him. And I can't remember the name because the Giants so frequently fired their coaches.
Exactly. Right. But again, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, again, it's when you look at teams going through coaches, and then you look at other offensive coordinators who are, in position, who are doing well, and now it's like, we're gonna hire this guy over here. He's coaching some bitty ball team. But he was our special relations coordinator. He was our equipment manager. What are you talking about? Yes, yeah, no, that's how we're gonna do it.
I mean, they basically hiring the Bills offensive coordinator off of one game. Yeah. They're hiring him off of that game that they had in Kansas City. That Eric Bieniemy won.
Think about that.
They're hiring the Bills coach off of that game because there's no way you could look at the Bills this season and think that their offense was a juggernaut, because they were not. They were up and down all fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
All year, the Bills were up and down. They had this historically great football game of an offensive shootout, and he got hired off of that.
And they still
because his man was the GM and got him a job. Now flip that in reverse. Kansas City got a black guy that became the GM in Chicago. He ain't even give Eric Bieniemy an interview. One ours.
Or was he allowed to?
Well, it gets back to the Obama problem, right? Everybody wanted Obama. Like, yo, fam, you black men, look out for us. But Obama had to worry about the optics of it. Man, listen, if I put too many black people, they're going to say this, they're going to say that. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. But when white people look out for their own, like a mug. And they don't ever have to worry, it's too many white people.
Mm-mm.
But when a black person gets power, they got to be like real cautious of how they move. Ooh, yo, I can't make it look like, I can't make it look like it's quid pro quo. I can't make it look like I'm looking out for my boys. I can't do that.
But Bruce Arians could. Nobody bats an eye. Nobody bats an eye. You know what I mean? And then they win. And nobody bats an eye about, okay, we need to get something over here. And so when you take a look at the landscape of the NFL, and you're like, okay, well, we heard this BS in college. Remember when they weren't hiring black coaches? Like, well, black coaches are, and I forgot who said it. I wish I knew. You know how when something is just so appalling, you're like, yo, I know you didn't say that. He was like, well, the reason why there's no black coaches is because there's not a lot of black assistants in the college realm. A lot of them aren't going to these schools. so they aren't becoming coaches so that they can move up. And what happened? A lot of these coaches like, okay, I'm these players like, okay, well, I'm going to become GA. I'm going to work my way up. And then what happened? What happened? Then it was like, well, well, because a lot of these coaches, they have good winning pedigree. Okay, but again,
what it brings me? You know what it harkens back to?
What's that?
A famous Denzel line from Training Day. Not what you know, what you can prove.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Not what you know, what you can prove. Which is a play on. It's not what you can do. It's who you know.
Mm-hmm.
And they know each other, and they look out for each other. And look, there ain't nothing wrong with looking out for your boy.
Not at all.
I don't want to make looking out for your boy racist. It's not.
No, it's a great thing.
But at the same time, when you can't get nobody in the door, where it can be an equal playing field, we're like, all right, yo, you look out for your boys. I look out for my boys. But it's funny how none of you're around tons of black people in the NFL, and they never got black homeboys that they're trying to look out for. That's what be amazing me. It's like, so you wait a minute, you've been in NFL circles for 30-something years. You don't got no black colleagues. That's your boy?
Right.
Impossible.
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 And it's more impossible because the owner got the final say. So why, when black firms want to get money up and own, teams, guess who had the final say on who get to buy the teams?
The owners.
The owners.
Well, this is what I'm hoping, though. This is what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that this puts a lot of pressure on the NFL because the former owner of BET,
Bob Johnson,
has put his hat in the ring.
Good.
To own the Denver Broncos. So I'm hoping, because they're under immense pressure, that they're gonna listen, man. I know y'all owners didn't want to let somebody in, but it'll look real good if we let this black owner buy the team. It'll relieve a lot of pressure off us.
Right.
Maybe that's something good that can come out of that.
You know what? You know another thing that needs to happen, and again because of how NFL is ran, is like every team is its own corporation, so it's not like it's under one umbrella. So like they just have to agree amongst each other to get things passed. What needs to happen is, which I wish could happen, is like, okay, if we don't have a certain amount of black coaches at a time in the NFL, then every team gets sanctioned based on X, Y, and Z. That's what.
I don't like it.
Huh?
I don't like it.
Why?
I got to be real. I don't like it.
Why not?
Here's the thing. It's almost a catch-22. I don't want them to hire black coaches because they have to.
Right.
I want them to hire black coaches because they're qualified and they're the best candidates. The disconnect is y'all. What they're doing is they're leaving the best black candidates out, and they keep hiring white people or other white coaches that are either not proven or are on their second and third chance, when there's other qualified black coaches out there that should be getting those opportunities, or proven head coaches that are black, that are not head coaches anymore, that deserve a second chance. You can't tell me that Josh McDaniels, the guy who failed in Denver, had a job in Indianapolis and walked it back and went to the Patriots to then get a job as the Raiders head coach. You can't tell me he deserves a job more than a Brian Flores, more than a Jim Caldwell, more than a Leslie Frazier. If he can get second and third chances, and mind you, he was a failed head coach in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Frazier wasn't a failed head coach in Minnesota.
Right.
Now, you could say Mike didn't get you where you want to go. Neither did Mike Zimmer. And Mike Zimmer got a longer leash than Leslie Frazier did.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm like, I understand where you're coming from.
Right.
But then it's just it's like affirmative action. I don't want you to, and it's hard to ask somebody to do that because I'm really, what I think what a lot of black people are asking for is a change of heart.
Right.
I shouldn't have to force you to look at me equally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And if I gotta force you,
I don't want it.
It's a dirtiness attached to it. For me, maybe some other people don't feel like that, but for me, it's a dirtiness attached to it that makes me go, yo, if somebody got to put a gun to you, it's like with a girl. If somebody got to put a gun to your head for you to date me, I don't want to date you.
Yeah.
I want you to like me because you like me.
Right. No, but I see what you're saying, and I get it. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. Nah, I want the best qualified. But what happens is we need to get in so we can ruffle through all the BS so we can get the most qualified in. Because at this point, because when I look at it, Chris, and the goal is, okay, now we usually hire anybody. Like, we get that, right? But now coaches and players, GMs are going to say, hey, listen, I know you got to hire black coaches, but we don't want that guy. We want him. And we're not going to do that. Like, okay, I understand, but enough is enough. It's been a few years now, but we're not going to him because he's a black guy. No, we want a good coach, solid coach. So now what that's going to force teams is to say, hey, listen, we're going to hire more GMs. We're going to black GMs. We're going to hire, more black offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators.
More black team presidents.
Yes,
more black vice presidents. We just need more. You need more black people and minority in general. Just need more of them around in the hiring process.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if you got to bring other players up for the head coach meeting, he could go, well, wait a minute, why you want to hire this guy over this black guy?
Yes. And that's what I'm hoping that. So by saying that, like, okay, well, we got to have a certain amount of black, people in place, minorities, because there's a lot of Spanish people out there too, Asians, and it's all over. We got to hire a certain amount of, minorities in these positions or we're going to get fined. And after, like you said, they're going to just hire anybody. But now I'm playing all right, listen, now you're a quarterback, right? Now you're a running back. Now you on these teams like, yo, y'all hire anybody. That's messing with my money. Yo, we need to sit down and talk about this. Because if you keep hiring anybody, and if we're not winning, guess what? I lose. And if I lose money, you got to hire another draft pick, so on and so forth. So now it's forcing teams to buckle down and say, yo, listen, listen. We want minorities, and we want it to be fair. But if we need the best, then that's what we need, right? Like, it should be bidding wars, because now it's okay, listen, yeah, that black coach is cool, but we want the white coach because we know he's qualified. We know he stands for it. Cool. But now that black coach or Spanish or, coach of color is so in demand, you got people bidding over him because of what happened years ago.
Right.
That's how I see it. You know what I mean? Because after a while, player, like you said, because of the nature of the NFL, players ain't going to say much like, yo, I'm good as long as they ain't messing with my money. But if you lose enough, that affects your money, right?
It could. It's possible. It has the potential to.
So now you're going through 8 coaches, and you're like, yo, whoa, bro, whoa. Hey, if y'all still want, let's just say Aaron Rodgers is just like, I don't know, he's right. I don't know. He's a black guy who's been doing that and whatever. And he's like, yo, listen, I want to be a part of this. Nah, I want to be a part of this because this ain't right. We need the best. And that's what's in turn, I'm thinking, what I'm hoping could happen. That's what I'm hoping could happen.
I'm hoping anything good can happen at this point.
Correct.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Because that's how it is. It's just, you get to a point where you're just used to it. Like, This wasn't a surprise to anybody, white or black.
Exactly.
And I got to commend, like, the NFL media that's not necessarily working for the NFL, but, reports about them a lot. They were pretty much like, look, the racism thing is definitely a part of it, but they go, almost everybody's like, yo, this Rooney Rule been BS since BS been BS.
Since it came into order.
They talked about all the workarounds, and people that are plugged in the know, they know how these deals is getting done.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who it was. He was on Colin Coward's podcast. He was saying, yo, he know people who quit the NFL. They're like, I just can't take this the way that they treat everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, the quote unquote good old boys club.
Yeah.
White people that's in the club that just say, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
So, it's been a problem. I think it's going to continue to be a problem. And I don't see no light at the end of the tunnel, if I'm being 100.
Nah. And
I don't see no real light.
You know what? And I'm being naive because it's a lot of qualified. What's dude from NFL Network name? Oh, Ruck on the line. Ruck, what's up, man?
There we go.
What's
bang bang Niner gang?
There it is. Set it off.
Yo,
Set it off.
What's dude that's on the NFL Network and he should have been a president or a GM by now? Black dude, boy head.
Are you talking about Louis Riddick?
Yes.
He on ESPN.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Bucky Brooks. Yeah, but Lewis, he was up for the Detroit GM job, but they went another direction.
Come on now. More qualified. This guy had it in the bag. What happened? Again.
He was up for the Louis Riddick was up for the Giants job too, but like I said, we don't know Giants don't like a lot of black people positions of power there.
No.
And I'm gonna stand on that. I'm gonna stand on that.
That's true. I'm trying to think when last time the Giants had like a starting black quarterback.
They never had one. Geno Smith was the only one, and he did that one game.
That's it.
Because Eli was just sucking, but Geno wasn't better than Eli. The team was bad.
Hey,
Right.
I will say this: like I jumped on because I want to hear Quet talk positively about Marvin Lewis.
Oh God.
Yo, I already hit him off with that because Marvin Lewis was on first take, and I told him how Marvin put Stephen A in his place.
No comment.
First of all, it ain't hard to put Stephen A in his place right now.
No, it's not.
Because he has turned into a straight circus, man. What's going on with him?
Agreed.
Money. Listen, you start getting paid that amount of money, you act a little different. You know the leash. You know what time it is, man. You know what it is. Now you got to be that careful.
The crazy part about that, there's actually a soundbite out of him saying that.
What?
That he does what he does because of the money he's getting paid.
Okay. We know that. And it's sad because, like Marvin Lewis, I give him credit. Also, like Kwame Brown was saying, your word, Stephen A, has power. Because if you as a black man is saying, yeah, you need to get rid of that other black man, that's what a lot of these bigots going to say. Well, if a black man say we got to do it, I mean, goddamn. What's wrong with that? And then you put this perception into people's head. Like, that's why I would never say, like, Jimmy G sucks. Like, I would never say a professional athlete.
Publicly.
No, I won't say it.
Publicly, you wouldn't say it.
Publicly, on camera, when it's hot, you wouldn't say it.
Even I would like, yo, man, he need to go.
Hey, let me tell you something, people. Mr. Marquette Aloysius Sutton right now is telling you a fib.
Nah,
you're lying to the American people.
I never see Jimmy G suck. I say, yo, I can't. He got my goddamn nerve. He need to go.
No, you don't call Jimmy G everything in this world except for a child of God.
Listen, cute in Chinese is fat. So
this why they ain't gonna hire no black coach. Niggas like y'all. This why. This why. But yes, I mean, I would agree with Mr. Lewis again, and also wasn't he like the president of the team at the time? So he had dual roles. So again, he wasn't just a coach, but he had a lot going on. You know what I mean?
So, y'all gotta tune in and check out the pivot and a great interview that the boys did with Hugh Jackson.
Yeah, Ryan Clark and Hugh Jackson.
Amazing conversation.
I'm gonna check that out. Also, I just checked out their show for the first time today, and they had Charles Haley up there. One of the best interviews. So funny. That shit was funny. So shout out to the pivot. I love it. But
shout out to the pivot, because I see why they had to make a pivot from I Am Athlete. Everything makes sense now.
I mean, I just always thought that Fred and Channing was just always different, and which is fine. Different is good.
No shade. It's just the I Am Athlete is going in a different direction. It's not a bad direction. I love the Fat Joe interview that I Am Athlete had.
Right.
But Fat Joe ain't an athlete.
Yo, it's a totally different direction. It's
totally different
like
direction.
I said to y'all, it has become the Breakfast Club.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So and I love the Breakfast Club, right? But when I want my sports, I wanted how DSTN delivers it.
Plug. There we go.
Fuck that shit, man. I wanted the way DSTN do it.
Yeah. But Ruck, so I am going to head out, but I just want to know, because me and Chris, we talked about it again. These solutions probably are going to go under the tank. I was saying maybe if they don't have a certain amount of minorities in positions or coaches, then every team should get fined. It's not going to happen, but it won't hurt to try. Chris is like, nah, because what will happen is they'll just hire black people just for the sake of hiring them. And it's like, I don't want you to hire me just because you have to. I want to, be able to get quality. And what my hope was that when they do that, now after years of BS, they're like, all right, well, listen, we tired of just getting any minority in here and we ain't winning. And players like, nah, we need quality instead of quantity. Like, let's do this the right way. And they start getting more involved because it's, if you start losing, affects your money, you out, how you going to eat? So that's what we're hoping.
Also, I feel like they would pull a lot of David Culley, right? Because you would just go, all right, listen, the teams that are about to be bad anyway, whether you hire a new coach or not, make sure, the owners would talk to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll just hire all of the black coaches to go there. They only got to work 1 year. They'll be bad. It'll be a justifiable fire, and then bring in the guy we really want. And then the next year, there's always going to be a new round of bad football teams that you can pawn off a 1 year black coach on.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I definitely want to steal from the conversation that I heard on the pivot, right, is Hugh Jackson brought up the idea of coaching trees, right? And I think this is probably one of the biggest reasons that I'm a big Marvin Lewis fan, because he has an extensive coaching tree, right? And when I say coaching tree, it's coaching tree of prominent African-American coaches that have done well in the league. Tony Dungy has a prominent coaching tree. Dennis Green had a prominent coaching tree.
Great. Yeah.
So one of the things that he said, which is not a shot, right? And I want to make sure I preface this before I say it, but it's clearly the sign of the time. Like, Mike Tomlin doesn't have a coaching tree.
He doesn't.
Because Mike Tomlin had to value the position that he had with the Steelers and make sure that he made the hires that were going to help him win football games, right? A lot of the people that we talk about with the coaching tree that may not necessarily translate into winning a lot have still been so impactful in the game. So Marvin Lewis, again, right? But one of the key points that he brought up, and this has been something I know y'all have heard me say it, but I've been saying it to Burns a lot, right? Matt LaFleur, while he was at the Tennessee Titans, right, for the offensive guru that he is, they never eclipsed higher than 27th in the league. The Green Bay Packers, for the last 3 years, have gone upwards of 13-3 for those 3 seasons, and we have not eclipsed the 28th offense in the league.
Damn.
So again, to coin to pub ourselves and give a term that's been out there, especially on the show, here's another opportunity that somebody failed up. And is it really his coaching, or was it more of the players that were there? Because you can't tell me that Marvin Lewis would be in Green Bay still today if he finished 13-3 for 3 consecutive years and we had the playoff losses that we had.
Nope. Oh, we need to change. We need to change. Something ain't right.
Mm-hmm.
Hugh Jackson was with the Raiders for 1 year. He finished 8-8. He's gone. He goes to Cleveland, where reports were made today. They threw him incentives, right, for him to lose. Brian Flores, the same thing. He finishes the season. I think the Dolphins won 7 out of 9 games or something like that at the end.
Mm-hmm.
No longer there. How does this happen? How did Matt Patricia last as long as he did in Detroit? How did Joe Judge last the entire season in New York? How does Mike Vrabel still have no heat on his butt? Right? How does that happen? Somebody explain it.
Well,
I mean,
I'll say it happens because they look out for their own. And in the conversation we was having right before you got up here, I don't necessarily think that looking out for your own is racist, but at the same time, we need to have our own people in position of power to look out for our own. That's the only way it would ever be balanced.
But at the same time, if we don't put you in power to put your people in there, come on now.
And it's a vicious cycle. Because if all of the white people in power in the NFL really only look out for their other counterparts, there's never going to be any room for anything. Because you're always more comfortable with yours than somebody else's.
Yeah, right. But you also got to remember a lot of the ideology of the guys that we're talking about, these owners. You also got to remember where a lot of these owners, get their money and how they make their money. A lot of these owners are for if we can get you working more, I can get more out of you. But I don't want to put you in a position of power, because if I put you in a position of power, then that means that you might one day can take my job. And so they're going to continue.
But you'll put yours in a position of power, and he'll take your job.
Of course,
he just look like you.
Yeah. But
everybody trying to climb to the top, and I agree with your point. But I'm just saying, like, it's the hypocrisy in it.
Of course.
Think. Are you worried that if you put a person of color in a position of power, he might eventually take your job? Well, if you put a person that looks just like you, everybody's driven. It's the NFL, man. Everybody's driven. Everybody trying to make it. Everybody trying to eat. Anybody trying to get your job.
But here's the thing.
Next man up. It's next man up all across the board. On the field, in the boardroom, in the owner's box.
But here's the thing, though, Chris. If you are a coach, right, a black coach, you know how the totem pole work even before you can get up to the owner. If I cut your legs off at the coach spot, and I put this fear into you, like what we're talking about with Brian Flores, people are scared. Like, yo, Brian Flores, he'll never work in the NFL again. Think about that.
I don't think you will.
Right, but these owners know that. They, again, like you said, slave mentality. I'm gonna put fear in your heart, so that way you won't challenge me. Because if you don't challenge me, then I don't have nothing to worry about, because I know it's going to take levels before you can even get to that, to get to the doorstep of me. You know what I mean? And that's the mentality, and that's what's driving. But again, a lot of these players, and this is no disrespect to them, they're already coming from that mentality playing NCAA football. They're already coming from that. Well, I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, we getting a scholarship, so we should just, And people, well, you should just be happy. No, I'm doing everything that a professional athlete would do and more. So why can't I get paid to play? And I'm doing everything that an NFL player would. I didn't have to travel this much when I was in high school. I didn't have to travel as much in Pop Warner. And people say, oh, it's just a kid's game. No, it's not. Because you're making billions of dollars. A kid's game is Pop Warner in high school, depending on where you live at. Because these coaches making $1 million in certain counties and down south. But it's not a kid's game. So now you have a lot of these players, again, have the same mentality. Listen, man, I'm just trying to make some money so I can feed my daughter, man. I don't want no problem when I'm trying to get the top. I just want to go to the league so I can live right. And they put that fear. Yes, you know what? You just go on by. Don't worry about this. You make it to the league and worry about your family. But you don't worry about the other stuff that's going on because that doesn't affect you. So they're already conditioned with that. They're already conditioned with, I just got to do what I got to do. So that's why when you were saying, Chris, they'll never put their money in a pot. And you're correct. Because, again, it's like I got to look out for me because I got the business side at a young age. When I went to school, I saw the business side of it. And it's ugly, but I'm not going to fight it because I need to get to where I got to go. Shouts out to Kurt Flood. Imagine if he wouldn't do what he did. Imagine if he wouldn't do what he did. Right. Imagine if Oscar Robertson wouldn't do what he did.
Jackie Robinson?
I said Oscar Robertson.
So what Oscar Robertson did?
Did he speak up for free agency?
I don't know. We got to talk to somebody that was there at the time, bro.
Yes. Oscar and I talked about that on a fun Twilight night, and he did take my advice and go ahead and speak about it. So, black don't crack.
So again, and then also like I was saying, change ain't comfortable. Change it, like people well, you know what? Even if Brian Flores gets, never get a job again, but if this is going to lead to other players and other coaches getting to where they need to go, then goddamn it was worth it. It was worth it. But again, somebody got to take a shot.
Well, it was worth it. It was worth it for, everybody else. I don't know if this is going to be worth it for Brian Flores. I mean, he's saying it now, but he basically martyred himself.
But
he's falling on the sword on this one.
Right, but at the same time.
But I will say this, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but again, just another thing that was definitely positive in that pivot conversation, right? I think this is the time, right, where these coaches need to start a new trend. And I think especially the coaches that have been to the NFL level, right, where over 70% of the league is minority, right? If your efforts are falling on deaf ears, go back home and give back that way, right? Go back to an HBCU, take a position at a Jackson State, at a Tennessee State, at a Grambling, like Hugh Jackson, like Deion, like Eddie George, and I believe Marshall Faulk is also in that mix as well. But take a coaching position where you can have direct impact. It may not be the NFL, right? But the impact of what it is and what Brian Flores was talking about, his ideal of coaching and leading men, it still gives you the same opportunity, right? Do that. Let's just not fall on the sword and not think that, we ain't seen in the movies where somebody fell on the sword but they still lived, right? Let's pick ourselves up and do something else, because you don't have to be a martyr. This society has evolved from when Colin Kaepernick took his knee. You don't have to just die there. There are other things that you can do to give back. So why don't they do it?
Right. Because and Ruck, that's a great idea, because guess what? If I'm winning at HBCU and I'm bringing them championships, you don't think that a school that's a big time program ain't gonna look at me?
You don't think Florida State's setting up their budget for Deion?
Oh yeah, I was just talking to somebody. I said, when you think Deion going to Florida State? Somebody said with the transfer portal next year, once one of his sons leave, oh, you already know what time it is. Like Shaq, barbecue chicken. You already know. And he's taking everybody with him. But before he leaves, guess what Deion Sanders going to do? He's going to put a coach in that position. He's going to make sure that they got money to sustain that. He ain't going to just leave them high and dry. He's going to say, listen, y'all already knew the plan. I'm going to make sure everything is cool. Make sure y'all got millions of dollars in the budget. But I got to do what I got to do. But that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So now, like you said, Ruck, when you talking about leading, when you talk about coaching, guess what? Brian Flores might could get him a job in the Big 12, Big 10, SEC, and where he's going to make millions of dollars. You know, and if you're talking about, like you said, leading, oh, that's where to do it. That's where to do it. And with the transfer portal, which I love, and people can't stand it. People are, I don't like it. It ain't like football used to be. I love the transfer portal because it gives the kids their own direction. I don't like it here. I'm doing what the coaches do, and I'm out of here. Somebody said, well, with the transfer portal, you know, that's why Harbaugh leaving because, you know, Michigan ain't like what it used to be. I'm like, I mean, I'm looking at the clock like what it used to be. What year? Because according to Chris G, I'm like, huh, I don't know.
It used to be good neither.
That's what I'm saying. But again, Ruck, that you bring up a great point. I don't have to, because college is totally different than NFL. Because, you know, like people could, you know, make a fuss and scream like, yo, we need some more black coaches. What's up? What's up? You know, it's a little different. But yeah, definitely agree, man. Definitely agree. But I had to get that out there, man. Fellas, like I said, I always appreciate y'all coming on, man. And I know it's been a lot of people who've been watching our show later, which has really been good. And you know, Ruck, me and Chris was talking, and Facebook tried to, you know, put a little muffle on us and make me sound like a robot, make Chris sound like a robot because we were speaking the truth. So you know how that go. But we still gonna do it. We still gonna do it. So, but before we leave, man, our deacon got to give us something for Say Word, man. You know, he always bless us with something good, man. And so here is another edition of DSTN Presents Say Word. Take it away, Deacon.
Hey, people. So in this week's Say Word, again, we're going to keep what we're doing in 2022 about us, right? About the personal changes that we can make ourselves to make ourselves better, to reach the goals and the dreams that we have set and seen for ourselves. So this week's Say Word, people, it's no longer about ability. It has to be about mentality. No longer about ability. It has to be about mentality. If your mind is set to anything, you can achieve it. No matter the circumstance, no matter the ability, it's the mentality. If your mentality is that I'm gonna go get it because I need it, because I want it, nothing can stop it. Remember, like Eric Thomas says, people, if you want to breathe as bad as you want to succeed, how can you be stopped?
Mm-hmm.
So go get it, people. Go get it.
Well, on that note, man, thanks again for tuning to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
And I'm your boy, Chris G.
And it's your boy, The Ruck Report, Jersey.
Peace.
Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
And I'm your boy, Chris G.
And it's your boy, The Ruck Report, a.k.a. Jersey.
Ready? This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished.
This is Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. X about me.
With Professional Sutton,
You already know.
Chris G,
My homie.
and the Rucker Report.
My family, what up?
They for real.
All straight with no chaser.
Let the games begin.
Let's go. Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast.